We have a man down.
Crysis, one of my favourite games of all time, one of the first-person shooters I played alongside COD 4. Could I run Crysis? At the time not really, but my god I still trucked on. Now the game has been remastered for basically everything. I've been super looking forward to giving this one another go, and with the announcement of the next 2 games being remastered, it is a very good time to be a Crysis fan. I'll split this video into 2 segments, the first being the main portion of the review, the second being the second half of the game, which will include spoilers of this 14-year-old game. To start with, I'll quickly mention the graphics. Crysis has always looked awesome. The remaster basically has made everything more colourful, whereas the original it was more realistic and muted in style. All the areas in the game are just very fun and interesting to go through, and although it is just mostly jungle areas, each area feels unique in its own way. Be it a port or a quarry, there's just a lot of variety to go through. Character models are the only thing that looks really bad at times, and they're the only thing that I really think they should have touched up on, but that seems to be a theme with most remasters these days. Crysis is a first-person shooter, with each mission being set in quite a large open map. Through each level, you'll be tasked with various objectives, and sometimes side objectives. Missions will generally ask you to break into an enemy base one way or another. As would come to be the standard later on with Far Cry, you can tackle these missions however you please. Use stealth to sneak in, or go in guns blazing. The game's main draw is the game's nanosuit. The suit allows you to excel in certain areas, be it strength to launch enemies around, throw barrels at them, or launch the local wildlife.
Nomad, JSOC indicates that the KPA have a command post on the Eastern Peninsula. I need you to infiltrate and check for intel on enemy emplacements.
You've got speed mode to go fast, armor mode to tank more shots, and finally cloak mode for stealthy situations. The remaster comes with 2 ways to use the nanosuit. The classic mode, which is the original way the game has it, it allows you to bring up a wheel to select which mode you want, while in the new way, each ability is assigned to a button for quick use. For example, to use speed, all you need to do is sprint and it will activate. The way you have the mode set to, classic or modern, the suit seems to act differently. The base mode for the modern system is strength, while the basic mode for the classic is armor, and in modern mode, armor mode drains your suit energy slowly, while in classic it does not. The modern mode is basically making the suit act more like it did in the later entries Crysis 2 and 3, which I suppose is good for keeping things consistent for new players. The game also allows on-the-fly customization of its weapons. As long as you found the attachment, meaning you've picked up the weapon with it on, you can now attach it to your weapon as and when you need it. So if you need more range, you can attach a scope, or if you need to be sneaky, you can equip a silencer. I really enjoy this mechanic. It gives the game a lot of freedom on how you approach things, without having to faff around in a menu or do it at set points. While on the subject of weapons, the game does have a wide variety of guns, from basic assault rifles, submachine guns, big doofy sniper rifles, shotguns, miniguns, Half-Life 2 rockets, sci-fi weapons, and the environment. They are all pretty viable to use, and because of on-the-fly attachment, you can use each one how you want to. So you can use the sniper rifle as a battle rifle if you so choose. My one gripe is that my favourite weapon, the SCAR, your starter assault rifle, you can only use it for a small amount of time, as there's basically no more ammo for it outside a few occasions. Overall, the weapons are really fun to use, and there's a lot of variety, so you're never using one gun throughout.
That's a go. Damn fine work, Nomad. We got VTOLs heading your way. The KPA have one last defense beyond the village. We're not expecting much resistance.
Vehicles are also more of a thing than I remember. You've got basic cars, cars with guns, boats, tanks, and VTOLs. All are actually really good fun to use and just don't feel rushed or tacked on. So as I mentioned before, you can go into missions sneaky or loud. Playing the game on the hardest difficulty, most missions ended up loud as the stealth system in the game is incredibly jank. Unlike recent games, there's no stealth takedowns, no things to throw to distract enemies, it's just shoot them and hope to god they do not notice. If they do, well, even if you're in a bush or in cloak mode, they'll see you. Granted, if you're in cloak mode and you move, they will continue to believe you're still at your old position. So I think the best way to play is not to worry about things getting too crazy. Otherwise you're just going to be restarting over and over again. That isn't to say you can't sneak into a base, but you're going to have to approach it very slowly and very carefully. Enemies just have supervision. So that really is the first half-ish of the game. It's very Far Cry-esque, sneaking through bases, blowing stuff up, and it's fun. But there's another half-ish, and that's where things get different. So this is a spoiler segment, mainly due to the fact that it's a complete change in direction and pace for the game. So the story so far has followed a special forces team infiltrating the island to rescue some hostages. But all is not as simple as it first seems. Turns out the Koreans are fucking around digging up an alien monument of some sort that turns out to be housing a very friendly group of creatures, and it turns out the Koreans just woke them up. Your first proper alien encounter is when you actually enter the alien monument itself. The game goes from sneaky to floating around in an anti-gravity level, shooting very quick moving aliens. This segment, while not long, is definitely my least favourite part of the game. The anti-grav, the similar looking levels, and the colour of the aliens just make it incredibly confusing. Shortly after the anti-grav segment, you are thrown into a snowy paradise, thanks to the aliens. Not much sneaking here either. A lot of shooting aliens as Koreans decided they wanted no part in this, and went home. The game goes full action from here on out. You get to use cool alien weapons, fight a few variations of the aliens, ending with a boss battle. The alien bits are cool and a nice change of pace, but when I'm playing the first half I really enjoy sneaking through, using my suit to adapt to different situations, fighting regular humans. And when it changes to fighting aliens, I more often than not stop playing. And that's not to say it's bad, it's just not what I enjoy about Crysis. Same thing happened with Nier Automata. You play the first half as a melee character, then the next thing you know you're playing a bullet hell minigame every 2 seconds. It's just not what I signed up for. I think overall Crysis has aged very well. The game is still fun to play through aside from annoyingly sharp vision that the enemy possesses. The remaster pretty much makes the game more obtainable now than it originally was, which I'm glad about. As before you only had a PC that may or may not run it, and then I think you had a PS3 and Xbox 360 version. The game is pretty short. My time by the end of going for the platinum was around 10 hours or less. It is also pretty cheap and goes on sale quite often. Or you could just wait for the whole trilogy to come out and then you can have it physical. I do recommend Crysis. It is old, so go in expecting that at the time. We didn't quite get the Far Cry 3 formula down yet in terms of stealth gameplay. Later entries would take this style of gameplay and just run with it, just on a smaller scale. So thank you for watching and I will see you next time.